Hi, this is Sindre from In Vain, and this Friday we'll be live on The Metal Galaxy. See you there.
Inherited, collective, force fed by balance, but hidden inside their illusion.
Hello everyone.
Cheers.
Hello. We as the Metal Galaxy, we are now bringing bands to you. Today we embark on a journey in Norway, and it is a progressive death metal with some black, death, and so on influences. We will talk tonight. Join the group, the Metal Galaxy, to embark with us on this journey. So I'm giving now guys from In Vain, Sindre and Johnar, so they can introduce themselves.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Johnar, play guitar in Vain.
I'm Sindre. I do vocals in Vain.
Hi guys, how are you today?
Very good, thank you. We're ready for whatever you got in store for us.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So everyone has a specialty from their country. John are drinking, I think. What are you drinking, Sindre?
I'm drinking a Birkebeiner beer.
And
lager?
Yeah.
And Johan, do you have any drink there? Didn't notice.
Yeah, I got the beer here.
Cool.
And is it Norwegian or something else?
Yeah, this is Norwegian. There's a lot of good microbreweries around here.
There is.
It's very interesting. So, how did you guys meet? Like, I know the band is from 2003, 2004, I think 2003. So, like, so many years now. Can you tell us the story, how it all happened?
Yeah, I guess Johnar can, as he started it, he can take us through it, I guess.
You mean the very beginning?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it was our other singer Andreas and me actually who started the band. We just had some fun this summer and recorded a metal song for fun. Basically, I was not so much into metal, but he was a diehard metalhead, and I always joked with him for fun that I would record a metal song one day so he could sing on it. And actually, I did it as a part of a project on a school I was attending, and he wrote the lyrics, and that song is called "As I Wither," and that's on our first album also. And I'm still really happy with that song, and that was the start. We saw that there's some potential here, and then we went into the studio and recorded an EP with 4 songs, and then this following summer we recorded another EP again, and then we got signed to Indie Recordings, and since then we have released 4 albums.
Wow, that's amazing for the person who said he's not into metal.
Yeah, well, I was not a big metalhead at that time, but obviously I got into it. I always appreciated all kinds of music, but I was listening to a lot of extreme music. Like I was listening to metalcore and hardcore, but I wasn't into black and death metal. That was still a little bit too much for me. But I got into it, and I quickly got into it, and I got a whole new musical world to discover.
Awesome. And how did you met Sindre?
Yeah, we knew each other from before, from common friends, and hanging around at some shows and having some beers. I knew that he was a singer and that he had a good voice, and we wanted to have some clean vocals. Andreas was mainly black. He's mainly a black metal vocalist. And we, from the get-go, we wanted to have different kind of vocals in the band. We didn't want to. Also, we from the first EP we already started to merge black and death metal with some progressive elements. The same went for the vocals. We wanted to have different kind of vocals. So we wanted to have singing. And that's where Sindre got into the picture.
Yeah, you contacted me with that first song. So when they made that song, and they had this part where they thought it would fit with clean vocals, and so that's when I joined, basically.
Interesting.
Cool. And you two are the oldest members, if I'm correct. And then there were some other members who left band.
Andreas and Jonar was first, and then I joined right after.
Yeah. Andreas. But the rest, it's like new members, like Alexander joined in 2013 and some other members. So we have seen some shifts. So I'm wondering, how do you select new members, and what challenge do you face then?
Well, we've always, I guess, this has to be, we've always been focused on the music, so that we need people that can handle the job, that plays the instruments well and can add something to the band. And then of course, like, personal chemistry is important as well. But yeah, we've been lucky that we know a lot of good musicians, so we've had a nice selection to choose from when we needed new people for the band, basically.
So the pool never goes dry?
Well, let's hope we don't need so many new musicians more now, but yeah,
it's a natural evolution in many bands when people get older, especially when they have kids and families. And also, well, we always kept the band at the kind of a hobbies stage, but still try to do it as much as we can. But at least I see many bands who are trying to do it full time, and then there always comes a point in time where a lot of members have to quit because they have families and they need more stable income. In our case, for instance, our previous bassist, he moved to the United States to become a pilot. So that's the reason why we needed a new. So our session bassist just joined permanently, and we've also had other members who wanted to do other things. And yeah, but when you've been in a band for a long time, it's not very strange that at some point you want to do something else, or you just don't have time or the passion anymore. It's quite normal.
Yeah, I imagine. And were there any times that, like, you had some differences with the direction you wanted to go, or was it more at a certain point that, like, the other person wanted to do something else or move to the States, like you stated?
You mean different musical direction?
Yeah, exactly. Was there anything like that in Vain?
No, I wouldn't say so.
No, we always like discuss the stuff, but yeah, nobody has quit because of like musical differences. Yeah, we usually end up with a product that we're proud of. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of sweat to make an album. But yeah, usually we end up with things we are really satisfied with.
But I think, like you said, like if you select it carefully and so on, then it's much like easier to go with a product that you are proud to deliver and so on. So
yeah, that also always I think has to be like the goal, or what we work towards. That it's we don't want to release something that we're not proud of, or we don't think is as good as it should be. So yeah, we'd rather use one extra year to make the album perfect than release something that is okay.
Yeah. Best strategy, I suppose.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Sorry, I want to say something.
Well, I wanted to say certainly, like, that's like, if you see how, if you look at In Vain in overall, it's so much dedication and so on. It's so carefully pieced together and so on. It's like a puzzle that fits correctly.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good. Good description.
So Johan, you mentioned about a bit of your influences. Could you please specify what kind of bands you were into?
You say, you mean in the past or now?
Like first, what influenced you in the past, and what you're listening these days?
Well, when we started the band, and as I said, I was not a metalhead. I had no experience with that genre at all. So, for instance, all these kind of famous bands and records that everybody knew, like Metallica and Iron Maiden and all that kind of stuff, I didn't know anything of that. I knew the bands, but I never listened to it. I started actually with the more extreme stuff. And a CD I really kicked on was the debut album of Cyclone. It's called World of Worms, and it was the ex-guitarist of Emperor who started it together with some guys from Myrkskog. And that's, they call that extreme metal. I think it's the first time I saw that being used, but it's kind of like a mixing Black and Death. And it was, for me in the beginning, it was very intense for me to listen to. I could only handle one song at a time, but eventually I got into it. And then from there, I discovered a lot of, I had a whole world to discover of bands. But so I can mention some that are my all-time favorites. That's like Emperor, Opeth, In the Woods, Extol. I think that they have some of the best songwriters in history of metal, and I listen to all kinds of music, but a common denominator for bands I like is that they have a unique voice. In my opinion, you can listen to the band and you can immediately know what band you're listening to. At least that's how I view them. So, but those are some of the bands I really like and still like to this day. I still think that their music is some of the best that's been released.
Cool. And what about you, Sindre? What are your influences?
Well, I've listened to the more extreme stuff from before we started the band, but I grew up with an older brother. He's 8 years older than me, so I heard a lot of music through him. But I also started off with like Emperor and stuff like that. And before that, I remember Countdown to Extinction by Megadeth. I was listening a lot to when I was like I don't know how old I was, like 9 or 10, and then but all kinds of extreme metal I liked, but I also always like listened to all kinds of genres. So always I'd been fond of like more electronic stuff, industrial stuff, and also like progressive stuff like 70s Camel and Focus and bands like that, King Crimson and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I agree with Johnar, like a band that has its own voice, and also I'm a big sucker for bands that can like take in the best parts of different genres and make it work together. Mm-hmm. So like things that you immediately like you think that won't work, and then they find a way to like make it play together. So anyone that can do that, I'm on board. And yeah, so still same. I listen to a lot of extreme metal, but I also listen to everything from like some hip hop to pop to whatever's good music I listen to, I guess, in my opinion.
That's nice.
Certainly nice, but it sounds like interesting. The only band like I really recognize is Megadeth. The rest is a mystery to me.
Emperor is one of like the pioneers of Norwegian black metal.
Yeah, but it's
one of the really big ones.
For
Sorry?
I'm not into black metal,
No.
but the only band I heard that are really black metal is Mayhem, but who haven't heard it?
Yeah, of course.
And now we are here talking about Mayhem and so on. We are going to ask the question. We have to, as we are traveling to Norway today. So about Norway, as
Yeah.
like extreme stuff that's happening there. We saw Lord of Chaos, and we saw also Headbanger's Journey, which gave nice impression of Mayhem. So I'm wondering, how is the situation nowadays?
It's nothing like that, in my opinion. We've never been like a part of the more extreme. All of the stuff that you mentioned happened when I was a small kid, so I was not a part of the scene then, and so it's not much. It's much more about the music these days, which is a good thing, I think. The bands are getting better. Like when black metal started up, it was like a classic youth revolt, and then a great music came out of it, and now it's like been polished and gone to every different directions. Some is really good and some is awful, but I don't see much of that stuff these days at all. Might be some kids trying to be like their idols and do some stupid stuff, but not in those like with big ramifications, at least. I'm not sure if Jonar feels differently.
Oh, that's more like something that happened in the 90s, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it's a few rotten apples that you find there, and it's like highlighted into the press.
Yeah. There's always some rotten apples. So, for example, Headbanger's Journey, he got a lot of stick for how he presented the Norwegian metal scene there. So actually on the DVD, there's he made, because I think he felt a bit bad, so he made a small Norwegian black metal documentary that's like extra on the Headbanger's Journey DVD to nuance things a bit, because the only one he spoke with there was like a really drunk Jon Stubberud from Mayhem, and he can say whatever, so.
But the drug didn't make it in the whole video, and the normal one got into the extra.
Yeah, well, I think he made it after, right? I think, I don't know this. I will not speculate, but yeah, there's, what I was told was that he made it after the Headbanger's Journey. So, but it was finished in time to be when it was released for DVD. But this is, something I heard. Source, don't remember.
Interesting, but if you look at Norway as a whole, it's especially now Black Death and symphonic metal that's made, or anything else that.
There are all kinds of bands here, but of course, like Norway are known for their black metal, and like the pioneers are still like the big ones, and then but you get new bands you get bands in like more progressive genres that does well, and also the old bands that takes another direction and does something a bit different, like Arcturus, for example, are sounding a lot different than they did back then. Or if you want to go extreme, then Ulver is quite different if you listen to some of their old stuff, like that's Madrigal or something like that, and then you go to the new stuff. Then there's two completely different genres, and they're both great, but it's pretty far from apart from each other, like the genre-wise. So, but there's a lot of things happening, not just black metal and death metal, I think, and a lot of like young people that grew up with this, not the first like the pioneers, but more the more advanced, or I don't know how I should say this, but like the newer bands then, and they evolve it even more as you do with the music. So yeah, there are a lot of things happening, a lot of interesting bands.
It certainly like broadens this perspective, so we know there's more to Norway than Mayhem and like the
Absolutely.
So let's get back to In Vain, shall we? Question I'd say would be more for Johnar. How to actually say your name? Is it Johnar, John?
Well, in Norwegian, it's you can try in Norwegian if you want, and then if not, we do the English version. But it's Jonar.
Jonar? What?
Jonar.
Junag.
Yeah, not a G at the end, but an R at the end.
Junar.
Yeah, so something like that.
Junar?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I call you Junar, I might forget.
That's correct.
Okay, so a question about the name of the band. Is there any story behind? How did you come up with it? Why is it in vain?
No, it's the story is, you know, this is the band. This is the band name we always had, and I wanted. Well, we discussed that we wanted to have a band name that ended with in vain, but we wanted to have actually a word in front of it. You know, some kind of word, but we could never come up with a good word, so we just ended up with in vain. And it's you know, it's kind of it's not super creative. I'll be honest with you, but that's the, you know, that's the band, the name we chose back then. So there's no special story behind it. It's no message. It's just the name of a band.
And why did you like In Vain?
We liked the sound of it, and it kind of fits. Well, that's how we felt back then. That it fits with fits with the music, and yeah, it has, you know, kind of a little melancholic vibe to it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I agree with the description. I think that In Vain softens a little bit, and then you hear the music. It's like, if you look In Vain, it's like, how do you say? It's so much things. It's a very broad band, and then In Vain, it's very easy to remember, and there are not so many. I think no one is called In Vain, so it's easy to search and so on. At least when I went to concert, the name stuck in my head, so at least it's memorable.
I think, you know, it's the music that makes the band name. You can have whatever band name you want. If you make good music, then eventually the band name will sound cool. I mean, maybe a bad example, but for instance, AC/DC. If I started a band today and said that's the name of my band, I don't think you would find it very, very cool name. But you know, that's one of the best rock bands, in my opinion. And then everyone thinks the name is great as well.
Yeah, but if you can't pronounce a name, or it's too difficult, or if you Google it and you see 10 different types of band, then it gets confusing, I think. So it's the music, but I think also the you know, the easiness of finding the band.
Yeah, absolutely. It's of course, it's cool if you can come up with a creative name, you know, that's great if you can come up with something creative. But at the end of the day, it's the music that's going to be what you have.
Exactly.
You know, that's the important thing.
Yeah, and that's the one that really sells and gets fans. So we are now on the music topic. So Sindre, I saw a few behind the screens, Mantra and so on. So, and you have there a nice piano and so on. So can you tell us about composing the music together?
Well, it's Johnar that composes the songs, and then how we done it, like the last two albums, and we're doing right now with the new album. He sends the songs, and then he has some ideas for the vocals, and then I make some ideas for the vocals. Me and Johnar get together, like discussing the songs, how they, like, structure wise maybe, and what things work, what doesn't, and then we exchange like ideas on the vocals, and we record like pre-production vocals, try out different stuff and different vocal styles, and and then we send it around to the rest of the band so they can listen to it and have their input if they got something, and then and it's sent around so Kjetil, the other guitarist, can play his solos, and Alex puts his bass on a lot of songs he did already on for the upcoming album. Yeah, so it's Johnar is the composer and of the songs, the structure, and then we like arrange it and we make the vocals together, like how the vocals should be. I don't know if you want to add something, Johnar.
Yeah, that's quite true. I always make a song kind of from A to Z, so it's always a complete composition. I'm not only presenting riffs to the band. I always have a full song made with it that I've kind of considered done. But Sindre and me, we live both in Oslo, so when we do pre-production, so I will usually write a lot of songs, and then we start the pre-production, and then we will have a lot of creative discussions. Okay, we start to, the vocals are really the key. You can have great guitar riffs and everything, but you need to find out how to make the vocal fit into the song. And in that phase, in the pre-production, we will discuss, and maybe we will figure out, okay, maybe we should leave this part out, maybe remove that riff, maybe move it. Sometimes it even happened for instance, on our previous album, we split the song in half because we liked how it turned out, and we decided we need to make more out of this riff, and we split the song into 2 new songs. Yeah, so in the pre-production phase, a lot of things happen, and we are discussing a lot back and forth arrangements. Mostly arrangements. Sometimes I might write. I see. Okay, I need to write some more riffs or whatever. But mostly it's about arrangements and to solve the vocals, to figure out how the vocals should be.
And would you have sometimes some kind of creative blocks that you can't make music, and if you do, how would you overcome them?
Yeah, absolutely, and I have that a lot. It's very. I feel now that I have it more and more. Actually, I kind of feel that for every album it might be the last, because it takes so much time to make an album. I have to put in so many hours to write music that I'm satisfied with for my standards. Mm. So when I read about other bands that release an album and then 1 year later they've been on the road and they say we've written a new album, I'm kind of shocked. Okay, maybe they're very productive or they have low standards, and very often it's the latter. And I think that I think it's more and more difficult also because at some point you kind of run out of ideas, and you want to do. If you look at our albums, we have kind of experienced a lot of different fields and areas of metal. And in the beginning, when you do that, there's a lot of options and cool things to discover. That, for instance, we started to do like a merge of Black and Death, and then eventually we ventured off into other kind of corners of metal. And our songs are, you can pick our songs and you will see some of them might be completely different from each other. But eventually, I try not to use the same kind of tricks as some previous albums, but in the end it's kind of difficult to avoid. So I think, definitely creative blocks. And I think it's also related to, I struggle to find new bands these days. I think there's a lot of good music released, maybe better than ever, but the problem is that the more and more music you have heard in the past, it's less, at least for me, it's less, it's harder to get surprised by and like blown away by something new. It's just like traveling. The more countries you visit, the next country will not be maybe that is impressive as it's compared if it was your first trip abroad. So that's also probably one of the reasons why I find it harder. And okay, that's a long answer. And how to overcome it, I don't know. You tell me. I don't know a solution for that. For me, it's been persistence. You just have to continue to work and put in a lot of hours. And actually, that's also a tough part because if you're a farmer and you go out to work in the field the whole day, you will always get something out. You will get a yield on at the work, but you can spend a whole day trying to make music and might not produce anything. Those can be frustrating.
But where do you get your inspirations from? Did they just come, or?
I just sit down and I try to get into a really, if you kind of obsess with something, let's say that you have a dream about something and you start to obsess about it, and it's always on your mind. Maybe you have a goal to achieve something or whatever in sports or whatever, but if you are able to get obsessed so much about it that it sticks on your mind, you sit on a bus, you think about it. That's the kind of mentality I try to get into when I write music. And eventually, if I get into that mentality, which always takes a lot of time, I can be quite creative and write a lot of music. But that's difficult. But I've been in those creative bubbles in the past, and then it's very almost easy to write, but it's hard to get into that creative bubble. I sit down and kind of try to create music in my head. I don't use my guitar when I'm writing songs.
Okay, wow.
Interesting approach, but like if you look in Wayne, what I see in every album, you want to use a different pool of like style and so on. And I imagine that makes it difficult. If you used everything, then it's like empty. And I think it's an amazing tone to just end when you are at your peak creating music.
Yeah, I mean, we will never release anything we're not happy with, and and if I feel that I don't have any more music left in me in this style, then we cannot continue. But when you're in recording an album, it's a lot of work, and I think when you ask a band right after, they might see, I don't know if I want to do another album. It's too much hassle. Well, when time passes, you get the urge again, but. Yeah, it's at least when I'm writing all the music by myself, it's a lot of work. We'll see. Maybe some other members will write music in the future, and we'll have it will be more shared responsibility.
That will be interesting. Maybe Sindre will have an idea, something to write.
Maybe we'll see.
So when we are talking about the blogs and songs, so you said you just produce music and you release it when you're happy with it. So how do you find the moment when you say, I'm happy what I made and I'm going to release it? I can't improve this, I'm going to release it. So how is the decision made?
You have to, at some point, you have to just make the decision though, because you can always you always go over the song and you can make changes, but at some point you're maybe making it worse again just because you heard it so many times. You might be tired of that riff or that vocal line or something like that. So I think for us, it's when we've done the pre-production and we feel that we've done what we can with the songs, and we feel that we have enough songs that are good enough to make the album. That's when we decide, okay, now we're gonna record it. Now we're gonna release it. And sometimes, during the when we actually record it, we usually record 1 or 2 songs more than we put on the album. And sometimes there's a song that in pre-production we didn't think that would be that good, but then when we do the actual recording, it turns out to be, oh, this is really good. And the other way around, a song that we might think this is going to be the best one on the album, and then maybe it's not that after all. So things can change, but I think that's when we feel we have enough songs for an album that we are satisfied with, that's when we do the final recording and decide to put out the album. So.
And You mentioned good enough. So what's the definition for you, good enough, and what's it for you, Johnar? What's the definition? It's good enough.
Good enough. I wouldn't use that word. It sounds very low ambition to me. I would say, for me, when I know the song is done, it's usually when I have the right stomach feeling. If I don't have the right stomach feeling, or I usually go by my stomach feeling, and if I don't have the right stomach feeling, I know that something needs to be changed. I might not know what, but I know that something needs to be changed. And when I have the right stomach feeling, I think, okay, this song is done. And maybe it might end up on, okay, I thought it was done, but it didn't end up quite as I thought it would, when I thought, okay, maybe that it would be better, whatever, when the final product is ready. But at least that's what I will go by in the creative, or when I compose. So I wouldn't say good enough. I mean, good enough sounds too like, not that the ambitions are high, but it's well, it is when we like the song, when we think this is a good song, then we will record it. It's not like, okay, but maybe we should change that because people will not like that. We only do what we like, and we think it's good, of course. And then all the members, we release an album and people can shoot. We maybe discuss the track list or whatever, but it's good enough. It's good enough means that we are very happy.
Absolutely, that's what good enough means.
Interesting. And make music by the stomach feeling. It's quite nice, and unique.
Good approach.
Yeah.
You can never go wrong there.
Unless you have food poisoning.
Of course, I mean, there, as Sindre said, this has happened in every recording. We always have one song we're sure, oh, we are certain this is gonna be great, and we are one song, we don't think it's gonna work, but okay, let's try. And then there's always, I call it a dark horse that surprises us, and ends up being maybe one of the songs we like the most. So that's always interesting.
Yeah, so no wonder you're like getting such a good reviews for all the albums.
Yeah, 9.5 average. Like, I was like, whoa, current like 9.5, but the other ones are really good as well.
Yeah, 9. Where did you see that, or there's some site?
In your email, like I calculated it.
Oh yeah,
9.5.
Yeah, well, that's I guess that's kind of a little bit how the band has built. I mean, Vain has never been a full-time band. We have not been touring all over the place like a lot of other bands, and usually that's how you build your audience. But I guess in our case, since we have not toured that much because we've all been busy with work and etc., it's maybe it's the quality of the music that has helped it spread a little bit on its own.
Mm-hmm.
And good reviews obviously help. You can build a band with terrible reviews if you just tour all the time, but of course, good reviews is very helpful.
Certainly.
And you're working now with Jens Borgen. So how did that start? How did you meet him? And how does he help to contribute to your music?
Well, we liked the sound on things he had produced in the past, so we contacted him when we needed to mix Enigma, because we liked his sound. So that's basically it. We knew we could get good sound with him, and so we used him for the 2 last albums because he can twist the knobs better than and we can do. So we need somebody to do that for us. So there's no like special relationship or something like that. Just like we liked his work, and then we wanted him to do the mix for the albums.
Interesting. So, yeah, it adds like the quality of In Vain. So when we talk about album, so I looked at it started with Mantra or Late Rain. It was
Let
Mantra.
Rain was the first one, yeah.
Yeah, and well, there. How do you say it? Like we meant, like was mentioned by you and Johnar, that every album is a bit different. It uses other pools and so on. So in Mantra you hear black, and in the other one something else. So can you tell a little bit about the styles, concept of the albums, and how the decisions were made with regard to style and the artwork? So a bit of background of every album, like the musical journey.
Go grab a new beer. I'll be right back.
Difficult question, since we run away.
You said you wanted us to describe the style.
A little bit like the musical journey, how you came up with Mantra, why it went from black, and then Currents is something else. If you look at it, the black elements went away. So I thought a little bit a nice background how musical journey from 2003 until now like developed.
Yeah. Well, I would say the first EP. Well, that's well. Oh, you want to start with the first album, maybe? That we were quite. I would say that was. We had discovered, or I tried to merge. We tried to merge like death and black metal with some progressive elements and also some other kind of hard music elements, not necessarily black or death. And then on Mantra, what I remember that I started to listen to doom metal and also to bands like Neurosis and this kind of I don't know what to call their style, if it's called sludge or what they call it, but this kind of heavy, intense down. Well, for instance, ISIS is a different kind of band in its style. I started to listen to those kind of bands before we wrote Mantra, and I think that resulted in Mantra being a little bit more down tempo. We have some slow songs there. There's a song called On the Banks of the Mississippi, which is very slow. We have never done slow songs like that before. So I found that to be an interesting challenge to write slow songs. So that happened on Mantra on some of those, some of the songs. And then on Enigma, actually I wanted to go a little bit more back to, or we wanted to go back to the roots and have some more fast music again. And I think that we had a really good mix on Enigma of fast and slow songs. It's yeah, I think that album, I see a lot of people who has that album as their favorite. I'm not really sure what we did different. I would say it's the best. For the first time, we had a much better production. That's the first time Jens Flugren produced our album, and that was a big step up from the previous albums.
From my from my experience, if you look at Mantra and Enigma, to be honest, like Mantra is more black, it's more heavier, but the second thing is also that Enigma would be more melodic, progressive. So the style is different. So I think that's, for me, the reason I love Enigma. And for Mantra, it's a little bit, for me, too heavy to put it there.
Yeah, I'm not. I think it's kind of hard if I'm going to try to analyze this, but we had a lot of singing on. Maybe, well, I think we had quite a lot of singing on Mantra, but on Enigma we had even more, and I'm talking about the clean vocals. I think we had more clean vocals. We had a better production. We had a bit more up-tempo songs than Mantra, which we had a as I said, quite a few slower songs. And we had, yeah, maybe Sindre, do you have anything to add? And maybe, how do you see the difference?
Well, I don't know. I agree with you. You know, the how the progression has been, and of course it was a big step up with the production on Enigma, and yeah, I think maybe that was where we like found we found a good mix of the different genres, and yeah, we as Jonas said, we used more clean vocals, and but yeah, all kinds of different vocals, and not really sure. As Jonas says, I see a lot of people have that album as their favorite. I think we did a lot of the same things, but this mix on the Currents as well. And in my opinion, Currents is even more tweaked, but maybe like the some of the surprise elements are more present in Enigma. I don't know, but yeah. I think other people will have to tell us why they like that album so much, and or even what they like with the different albums. But I think also like Enigma was a big step up for us when it comes to listeners and people that heard our music. And in my opinion, it's often the first album you hear, like the first album you fall in love with a band, is the album that sticks with you often. So I think maybe a lot of people discovered us with Enigma, and then that's their album. And the people that discovered us with The Latter Rain, they have The Latter Rain as their favorite album. So yeah, I don't have any good answers, but I think like it's for us, it's been like a natural like development, and then yeah, I think we just need to hear what people that like the albums, what they have to say about it, basically.
I think that's a very good point, actually, and I think a lot of people might forget about that. It's usually what Sindre says: the first time you listen to a band, you don't have anything, you have not heard a band before, so you don't have any expectations. If you know the band from before, you have some expectations of what they're going to release next time. So you have no expectations, you have no kind of hopes or whatever, and you're just going to be taken by surprise. And that effect is of course strong when you don't know the band, but when you know the band, you kind of know what to expect, and maybe you hope that they would do more of that, what you like. It's going to influence your view of the band more. But maybe on Enigma, I came up, or I remember now that on Enigma, it was the first time we did a pre-production. So we actually recorded all the songs, and we made demo versions of the songs, and we changed a lot of stuff, and we mixed. You know, we as I said previously, we split one song in half and made 2 new songs. We made a lot of changes on our 2 first albums, or at The Latter Rain, we didn't have any demos. I had just some kind of computer demo versions in media of the songs. It was a complete, we had to kind of calculate how much space we needed for the lyrics on the different riffs. You know, we had never heard the songs before we went into the studio. We hadn't practiced them either. So I think that we were able to do a pre-production before Enigma managed to make needed for the lyrics on the different. Yeah, it helped us to really kind of perfectionize this mix of the Black and Death and all the progressive styles to really make this mix seamless.
That's a very good point you're making from expectation. I think if you take into consideration, I think that's the reason I love Enigma and Current. But like for me, like Mantra, well, for you it's a step forward, but if you discovered first and you started with the vein with Enigma, then of course Mantra is a step backwards. So yeah, I think in that way it makes also sense. I think that's the reason like Enigma is the most loved album, or maybe current, who knows. So what I was wondering, there was one interesting song in particular in Mantra, Vikan. Well, for me it was like a little bit folk there, a little bit Native American tribe. It was quite interesting. So I was wondering, how did you come up with this?
Yeah. Do you want to answer this, Sindre, or?
I think this is your question, Johnar, because that was your creative idea.
Well, if you know our first album, The Letter Rain, we had a song. There's a song called "Their Spirit Ride with the Wind." I think it's the fourth, fifth song, and that's that has a lyrical theme about the Native Americans. I've read a lot of books about those, and I've always been fascinated about their history and their struggle against the white conquerors, and their culture as well. You know, how they live their lives in harmony with nature, etc. So I wrote those lyrics after I saw a documentary about one Native American tribe on TV, and then. So that song has some Native American elements. You can hear some chanting and some similar elements in that song. And on the song you mentioned, we tried to take this idea one step further. So we brought a Native American into the studio, and he brought with him a lot of Native American instruments, and he was doing chanting and all kinds of songs and spiritual chanting, and he was playing flutes and percussion, and everything you hear on that song is played. Some people have asked me if there's some samples there, but everything is played by this guy. So we kind of took this Native American song idea to the extreme with that song. So it's a kind of, as you say, that's an outlier song on that album. It's completely different from all the other songs. And in hindsight, it might have been better to use it as a bonus track because it's so special. It's so different from the rest of the music.
Yeah,
and it seems to me that it seems to me that it's either people love it or they really, really hate it. So
my question is, where did you find Native American in Norway?
Well, I mean, Native American, yeah, we have Native Norwegians far up in the north, the Sami people. But the Native Americans, I'm talking about, you know, the Native Americans of the United States. But we have some also in Norway, but those are not, our songs are not about them.
I think her question was where we found this Native American that we used for the.
Yeah, well, actually, I was Googling and I came up with there was some Norwegian organization, friendship with the Native Americans or something. I didn't think I would find anything, but I found that organization, and through them, I think I asked them, is there anyone who's playing these instruments, or can we borrow those instruments? And from what I remember, they sent us some instruments by mail. They let us borrow them for free. And we got in touch with this guy. We brought him to Kristiansand, and he slept at Andreas, the other singer's place. He came with us to the studio, and he was very enthusiastic. He wasn't a metal guy at all, but he understood our vision. So we spent the day together with him, and it was really interesting.
Awesome.
Living in Norway. He was living in Norway, living as a musician on the west coast of Norway, I think. I think he had a Norwegian girlfriend or something, but he was a Native American and an American citizen.
Bill Silverbird was his name. Yeah, I'll be right back.
No bother.
No, but quite interesting. So I'm curious who you're going to bring next album to the studio.
Well, we have no plans yet. I think that we have had so many guests now, and I really liked to do it on our first albums. I thought it was a lot of, well, we will probably have some session musicians, maybe playing some strings or brass, but I'm not sure if we're going to have so many guests. I mean, as I said, in the past, I thought it was really great, especially when, for instance, as I mentioned, I've been a big fan of In the Woods, and the singer joined us on 2 of our first albums, and he did vocals, and I was kind of stoked that he was participating, because I know that he usually turns down all those requests. But the people I wanted to work with, I've already worked with on some of our albums. I don't really have a lot of lists. I don't really have any list with people I would like to work with. Now we'll see how the songs develop. Maybe we will see that, okay, maybe we should bring someone in here to do something. But we don't have any plan about that yet. And to be honest, we have a big range of vocal capabilities in the band. Have a lot of different vocal styles that we master, and it's not necessarily needed to bring in guests.
Yeah, exactly. I meant also like maybe some other tribe, I don't know, some other folk thing.
I think we're kind of done with that Native American theme. We did 2 songs on that. We kind of maximized it on the Via King song, so that's kind of history for us.
All right, so back to really In Vain, Currents. So that's the last and recent album that we haven't discussed yet. So anything to add to this album, how it came?
How it came, yeah. Sindre, you want to answer, or?
I can start. Well, we did this for the second time, as Jonas talked about. We did the pre-production for Enigma, and we did it the same way with Currents, and we didn't have like a vision to go this way or this way. Just pick the songs that worked the best, and then and then try to make them as good as we could. And I was really happy with the result. I'm really proud of that album. So I don't know what to say about it. It felt like the natural progression for In Vain, and didn't have like a vision to go this. Yeah, now I get myself an echo. So yeah, it's the natural progression from Enigma, I think, and we did the same kind of pre-production, and we used the same guy to do the mix. So in that aspect, they might be similar. And I think maybe, I don't know really what more to say about it. It's an album I'm really proud of.
How did you come up with Matt Heavy from Trigium to collaborate with?
Yeah, Jonah could answer that.
Well,
I'll be right back.
we have this singer is going to the toilet all the time here.
We need to ask him when he's back.
I'm gonna ask him if he has a bad stomach. But, we have a Twitter account that we never use, but one time every second month, I think I pop in there, and then I saw there was like 100 notifications, or a lot of them, and then I saw that Matt Heath had posted about us on his Twitter account, and I think I replied to him or something. And at least I got in touch with him. I don't really remember how, but I talk with him from time to time on WhatsApp. And I just asked him if he wanted to participate on a song on the coming album, and he was very positive and enthusiastic. And he's a really, really nice guy. And he recorded everything, you know. I mean, everything for free. Recorded it himself. He even recorded videos. He recorded himself singing, so we could use it in our music video.
Wow.
So he just got in. Yeah, it was from that Twitter post, and I've been in touch with him since. And well, yeah, we met him when he's been playing in when he played in Trivium in Oslo, and
Cool.
so that's the story behind it.
Oh, certainly, like interesting.
And recently you started working with Costin, I cannot say this name, Soriano.
Yorano.
Soriano, I pronounced it very wrong. And how did that collaboration happen, and what did that brought in?
Yeah, well, Sindre, you wanna answer that one?
Yeah, all right, yeah. So yeah, we had seen some of his work and really liked it. And me and Jonah, we had sort of an idea what we wanted for the cover. So we spoke to him about it and just told him that what like our vision was for the cover. And he did a sketch that we liked. And then he did a final version, and we tweaked it a bit, and then yeah, we ended up with the cover, which I think fits the album very well. So it was just we liked his work, and we contacted him. So
Yeah, I never seen. He's a really quality deliverer. I never seen him. All the work I have seen he's done has been very good.
yeah,
Are you working with him for the next album?
hasn't been decided yet. So we are far away from those kind of decisions. That's the cover. We're gonna be happy when we are at that stage, because that means that the album has been recorded. So
yeah,
we'll see about that.
But I would say keep the guy. He makes amazing art. Like the currents, it's nice. It fits the current storms. And I read that the concept of the album was the storms, or how do you say, the shifts we live on and so on. And then you see the artwork, and it nicely fits together what you want to display. So I think it's a win-win situation.
yeah. I really liked the cover. I think it turned out really nice. It ended up the way, at least I imagined it's how it should be. So yeah.
Right. So let's travel now to Mantra. In Mantra, I saw a trumpet, which it's weird for us to see a trumpet in extreme metal. So can you tell us a bit about other instruments that you have used that are normally not used into extreme metal?
We have used on the first album. We used a lap steel guitar, and or pedal steel. We have also used. It's mainly used in country music. We have flute, but flute is not. Of course, other metal bands has used it, but it's not super common. We also had that on our first album. On our first album, we were 20 musicians in total contributing to that album. Other strange examples. You know, we have other brass instruments, but I don't think, in my opinion, they are not that seldom. Do you have any examples, Sindre?
No, but I guess like the main thing is that we usually we want to that as much as possible should be played by the actual instruments, and not like a keyboard trying to play a trumpet sound, something like that. So when we can, we get people that can play the instrument to do that instead of using samples or using keys. So I think that's like the original idea behind it, and then then you just use the instruments that seems fitting, that might elevate the song, I guess. So there's never been like a pursuit of getting new instruments or doing something that is different just for being different. We just use whatever we think fits the song the best, I guess.
So it's like an authentic feeling sound that it's like produced by the instrument itself, and not like digitally constructed.
Yeah.
Cool.
And would we expect, or should we expect any interesting additions to the fourth album, or you haven't planned those things yet?
Haven't been planned. We'll see. We'll see how the songs. Now we're in the middle of pre-production and doing like making demo versions of the songs, and then we'll see what if they need something different.
For now, enjoy currents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
That's good.
Yeah, I certainly do as well. So now about the vocals. So I read while I was doing some research for the interview, and I looked at the website, and I saw Andreas that he's doing the vocals as well. But if I remember the Netherlands, I didn't see him around during the Orphanet Land tour in the Netherlands. So I'm curious, he's the vocalist, but how is it split between you two?
No, yeah, he's doing the black vocals, like the high pitched screaming, and I do the growls and the clean vocals. Is usually the splits. When it comes to that tour, he couldn't join us because of kids and stuff. So I did all the vocals there, or I did his parts, and then of course both the other guitarist and the bass player and also Johnar joins in live. So we got a lot of different people that actually can do vocals live in the band, which is very good, I think. So yeah, the split is basically he does black vocals and I do other types of vocals, and then we do it like that live as well. But when he's not been able to join, then I've just done everything.
And how often do you practice, and do you have any teacher for vocals?
I've taken some lessons, like occasionally, but practice. I got some different things I try to do now. But that's mainly the last year. The last year I've done that. I got some technique training because my technique was all fucked up because I just learned to sing by myself, never had a teacher. So I do some exercises, but then basically I just sing a lot. I like to sing, and then I got 2 kids, so I sing for them all the time. So that's basically like nursery rhymes and stuff like that. That's my vocal practice.
Any metal nursery rhymes or lullabies?
When I get tired of the regular nursery rhymes, I do something with clean vocals though. But I do sing a lot of like Opeth and some other some Megadeth and some different clean vocal songs. Just turn them into lullabies, I guess.
Cool.
Must be an issue if you have a cult and the kids are screaming that they want the song.
Yeah.
Idea for a side project. Lullaby.
Exactly. Actually, on my Instagram, I had to put out a video because I'm doing the pre-production, but I got a kid. My youngest is 4 months old, so I got a video of me recording for the new album with him on my lap and the other one interrupting. So yeah, it can be a hassle sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, let's go back to In Vain.
Yeah, I saw it.
Sorry, so I was going to ask, what is the shortest and the longest song that you ever done?
That depends what you count as songs though, because like some intro, like an intro to a song, that's a different track might be the shortest. But yeah, I don't know if you know this, Johnar. I can't remember. Like
I don't know it. I just have to guess.
I'm thinking No More Lovin' or might be the shortest, maybe, from Mantra. But that's basically an intro to a song. So
Basically what I saw, maybe I should elaborate this. Yeah, I think it was an intro song, but you know, you normally don't see 1 minute on a song when you have the CD. And I saw 1 minute and was like, what? 1 minute? 1 minute song? But yeah, it must be an intro song, like you stated, because it's like a piece together. And then there were songs that I saw 10 minutes, 11 minutes, something like that.
You say we have a song that's 11 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, you know, an important point is fade outs. If you have a long fade out, that could probably add almost a minute. But it's interesting. I hope that you maybe had the answer. What's the shortest and the longest? Because I don't know, but I would guess that the shortest would have to be on one of the last two albums, because I had a deliberate intention to try to write shorter songs, because all our songs had been at least 6 minutes, and I thought, okay, why not try to write some shorter ones? I would think that on maybe on Currents you will find the shortest In Vain song, but I'm not sure which one it could be. But
let's study this after the interview. Have shared, because
maybe in the Midnight Hour is the longest. I don't know. That's over 10 minutes at least, I think.
I just hope. Well, I took the intro song as a song, so yeah, that's out of question. But yeah, I hope that you can answer this, so that I know what your shortest and longest song is. But I think we all need to get like someday and just search all songs and look how minutes, which one is short, which one is, and make it like graph, and then we find the song.
Yeah. Or if someone watching knows, then put it in the chat.
Please. Yeah. Longest and shortest song, please. Yeah. So now back to now about another album, The Letter Ray. You talked about the guest musicians you had in the woods and so on, but the whole album was like 20 guest musicians, and you had some connections and so on, but it's quite a lot to get so many people on board for one album. So how did you pull that off?
Well, I if you want, I was so curious about your question. I had to check it. I have the answer now to the longest and shortest. Actually, the longest is a mantra. It's called Somber Fall, Bird and Winter. I wanted to be my pick, but the shortest one was from Enigma, the Hymn to the Sea, Hymn to Havet, the Norwegian song.
Oh.
There you go.
That's sorry, and then you asked what about
yeah. So we traveled to to the Letter Ray. So it had 20 guest musicians. So how did you pull that off?
Well, we just invited the musicians to the studio, and we handed them notes on what to play. Well, they were hired musicians, so they were not all there in the studio together, so it wasn't that complicated. That's just, we just contacted good musicians in our hometown. Our hometown has a musical conservatory, which educates many musicians every year. So we had a good selection of great musicians available.
You have really amazing researchers. I don't know any band that could, I think, pull 20 musicians up for one album.
No.
But when I said with 20 musicians, that included also the band. So it wasn't 20 session musicians. I think it was 20, but including the 6 members of the band at that time.
But still 14, we don't see that. Veronica, you somewhere?
Never.
At that time, we did everything. A lot of bands now are using samples if they don't have a big budget, or they use maybe a whole orchestra, which a band maybe like Dimmu Borgir would use. We were not able to record an orchestra. We had to bring in one musician at a time, and back then samples weren't good enough. So that's why we needed to bring all these musicians, because we wanted to have a real authentic strings and brass and everything. We had big ideas back then. Now on our latest albums, we haven't had that many guests, but I guess there will always be some.
Do you plan for any new guests for the fourth album? I'm still trying to find out.
I don't think you are getting here something.
No.
Oh, we don't know yet. We'll just have to see how the song turns out.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then about something else a bit. So what I know, like you have all families and you have also different jobs. So you're not only in the band, but you have a professional work. So how do you manage to rehearse together and be on tour?
We don't rehearse that much at all, actually, to be honest. We rehearse on our own, and then if we're doing a tour or we're doing a gig, we meet up and we do like a couple of really intense, long rehearsal sessions, and that's it. So yeah, we don't actually have like a rehearsal room. We just rent the room when we need it, and then yeah, we just depended that everyone does their work at home before we meet up, and then we put in those marathon rehearsals right before we're going on tour or before we're going to play a show. So that's basically how it works.
Interesting, and well, it's also an interesting approach, because a lot of bands rehearse together, but like with you do everything apart and it fits nicely together, so there's no loss of quality.
That's good to hear.
And what was your longest tour?
Oh, I don't know. We never, because of our situation with kids and work and stuff, we never do like really long tours. So there have always been like 2, maybe 3 weeks, nothing more than that. So that's
okay.
Because of the situation. That's how much we can manage to take off work or be apart from the kids or stuff like that. Yeah.
So basically taking like holidays off work and touring that.
Yeah.
Okay. And how was the crowd in Norway compared to the other countries that you visited so far?
They're a bit spoiled when it comes to metal music. So yeah, it's harder to get the crowd going here than when we're playing abroad. I guess it's my general impression of that. With, of course, there are exceptions, and we've done gigs here in Norway as well. That's been really fun. But on in general, I think they are used to bigger bands and a lot of bands playing a lot, like in their town. So I think, yeah, in general, the responses are like what should I say? Like the enthusiasm is greater when we're playing abroad. With exceptions, of course. We've played some shows in Norway as well. That's been really, really great.
I think so. As we are talking about tours, so how did you end up with Orphanet Land and our friends at FUM? And how was the tour for you?
It was a good tour. I think it was how this works is when you release an album, you need a tour, and then where that's like the size of our band is so that to do our like proper European tour, we need a headliner above us, or we have to do pretty small shows, I think. So you need to find a tour with a band that fits like okay, that when people go to see the headliner, they also want to see your band, or they maybe if they don't know your music but they see you for the first time, if they're there for the headliner, they can enjoy your music as well. And it has to fit with like timing, both with. So you get like offers to go on different tours, and you just have to pick one that fits like the criteria,
I think
length and with timing and everything. So yeah, kind of random, I would say, but yeah. I don't know if you got something to add, John.
Yeah, well, that we just got an offer to tour with them, basically.
Yeah.
That's how it happened. We didn't know them from before. I mean, I got an offer, you want to be special guests on their tour, and it took time to consider it, and we thought, okay, why not? Yeah, we are not a full-time band, so we would, of course, we would like to build a band bigger, but it's very different when you're a full-time band and touring all the time, compared to being like being a band with, you know, on a more like a hobby basis with full-time jobs. But we will do more tours and probably yeah, we don't mind supporting a good band. Or maybe, and probably sometime in the future we could headline ourselves.
Yeah, that would be nice, like a headliner. That would
Especially if you can come to Ireland.
Yeah,
that would be fun. We've never been there, so that would be fun.
It's not very. I don't see Ireland very often on tour routes, to be honest. I often you see tours go to England, and then, you know, they take the underground, or they take the ferry, or isn't it? Yeah, they take the ferry over from France, and then they go to London, and often they go back again and continue, you know, in mainland Europe. And it's a long tour, you know, to go all the way up to Ireland and then kind of back again. You cannot. It's hard to do like a circle there. I don't know how big the metal scene is on the various other big cities other than London, but.
So basically we have here Dublin and Belfast, but that's Northern Ireland. But the crowd here, if the big bands come, it would be something to see. Like there is a good interaction. Like the funny thing is in last year, Metallica did a tour with Ghost, and I don't know, some small bands. And then Ghost came to Dublin, and it was sold out in November when they went from support to headliner. So there was a lot of interest from the Dublin crowd, and they sold as well, I think, in Belfast. So there are a lot of interest here in Ireland, especially for that black doom, everything that's like extreme. So Invane would fit here nicely. I think maybe Limerick would do as well.
I'd love to play there. So
we have another town with Cork, which is not a town. It's quite big as well, and there is it's black. It's very heavy metal festival, not a heavy metal, but like extreme black metal, dark metal, something like that. And I can't remember the name of the festival now, but it was happening every summer before this thing came. But something to be looking for, definitely there.
Exactly. Let's bring that metal, like the Norway one, in vain. That will be something in shake here in Ireland everyone up.
that would be good.
So do you guys have any crazy tour stories? Anything interesting happened on the way that you would like to share with us?
Not that I would like to share, no. No, I don't know. Do we have anything, Johnar?
You can tell a story about the cowboy man if you want. In Switzerland.
Oh yeah. That was we did a show in Switzerland, and we were staying at somebody's home, or basically we got like an apartment, and we were supposed to be picked up and driven to the airport the next morning, or not even morning, it was like 12 or something. But we were standing there and nobody shows up. We went to a big party last night, so we were all hungover and like really hungover. But nobody shows up, and like an hour late, we were like the flight was soon departing. Then the guy that was picking us up was arriving, and that was the guy that was the most drunk from last night's party.
What?
He drove like a crazy, way too fast and drunk. He was really dangerous. But yeah, we did catch the plane by like the smallest possible margin. So that was one. And if we were doing, I remember what another thing, we played a show in Ljubljana, which was a weird place to play. I like the town was beautiful, but like the venue was basically like a big squatted building. And we have, you know, on the rider, we need to get like access to a shower every gig, because when you play you get really sweaty, and then you're going in a bus, you need to shower. So, but they had a shower, but the shower was like in the same room as where they kept all the electrical equipment, and then you had the shower here and no like curtain or anything, and like right next to it was the fuse box.
No.
So that was like a death trap. So nobody showered that night.
That is insane. How they
Yeah,
can
that
do
was.
that?
I got no idea. That was really crazy.
I wonder if anyone took shower there.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
think the
that
whole
was-
building would explode if someone just showered
Yeah,
with electricity.
we didn't try. I think that was pretty fucking dangerous.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I just got corrected by Hugo. He said, what is the name of the festival, which I forgot. Thank you, Hugo. It's Monolith Metal Festival in Cork, so you can check it out if you would be
Yeah,
in any time coming through UK to maybe here.
absolutely.
Because
If
it's
anyone that works for that festival, get in touch. We would love to play in Ireland. That would be great.
Yeah, we have here Dublin, but Cork
Yeah.
would be like a good way to go as well.
Yeah.
So back to there is also another correction. Redemption Festival 2020. Does it say something, Veronica, to you?
not really.
So the one who said something about redemption.
Okay, yeah. It's Primordial. They have a festival every year, so it's called Redemption.
Yeah.
You know the band.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so they would have as well, but that one would be in Dublin.
Yeah.
It's usually like around May. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Well, not this year.
Nah.
However, we are pretty locked down. We are in our houses since March, locked.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Yeah. So back to In Vain and the studio. So in this and lives a little bit. In the studio, you have the perfect condition to create masterpieces. So for this reason, I'm wondering what challenges do you have with regarding to the live act?
Well, you know,
we have decided that we want to present the songs as close to the original recording as possible. So that means that we have to have some music on backing tracks, for instance, the brass and strings, and we are then playing by click track, or a drummer is playing by a click track, so the backing tracks and our playing is on time. That's not a challenge, but yeah, that's how we need to do it when we cannot bring live musicians, so session musicians on stage. And yeah, but there are a lot of, I would probably say a lot of the big choir arrangements, which sounds very good on the albums, is hard to recreate live, because you don't have enough voices to recreate them, basically. That's a challenge. And I don't think playing wise, that's not a challenge. It's more like, and probably as with every band, it's a challenge to have a good enough live sound that you can hear all the elements in the music. When you have a lot, when you had a lot of stuff, when you have a lot of stuff going on, as we have in many of our songs, you need a really good sound guy who can tweak so that he brings out, or he or she brings out everything. Sindre, you have anything to add?
No, I agree that there is as he said about like the choir arrangements. I might add, like when we do recording, there might be 14 voices, and then when you're doing it live, when we're 4 people singing, of course it's not as massive. So stuff like that. But also I want to add that I think like the Enigma and Enigma and Current, the songwriting we've had more like you have, and Johnar, you've had more like you've been thinking that this is something that we're going to play live more than the first albums maybe. Because especially with the first album, it was stuff that you written and we went into the studio with just MIDI files, and whatever happened, you know. So
yeah, we are now trying to, we don't make compromises. If we think that hey, we're gonna do this, even though it's gonna be impossible to recreate live, we're gonna do it this way because that's the best way. That's how we always think. But
of course
we try to think at the same time, okay, do we really need this? Could the song be good enough without it? And also could a pro from that be that it could be even easier to play live without, you know, making any compromise. That's also something we take more into consideration now.
Yeah, and then it's just we have the songs are like they are when they've been recorded. That's how they are, and then it's just trying to find the best way to recreate them live. So it's all about just finding solutions how to do it, how to make it sound good enough, or the best it can be.
Yeah, the sound engine, I think the tweaking is the most important one, and the venue, I think, like in Netherlands, where they put you like in an old World War bunker, I was like, oh my god. And then the States, it was so small.
Yeah,
I remember that was like difficult to tweak and so on, and then it got better over time, but certainly it's not always perfect conditions, but live acts are more than that, engagement and so on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes out of control.
Yeah.
So if you would be going back on tour, or when you'll be going back, is there some specific countries that you would like to visit?
Do you mean that we've not visited before, or?
Yeah.
Oh, a new country. Well, are we talking Europe now, or?
The world, the galaxy, whatever you like.
Of course, we would love to play in the States. We would love to go to Japan. South America, well, that's not a country, but I'm saying South America in general because I know that the fans are lunatics down there. Well, we would love to play for anyone who wants to listen, but those places would be awesome to visit. And the places I'm not mentioning, we would love to go there as well, but I'm just giving a few examples.
Yeah, basically we would like to go anywhere that people want to hear our music would be great. And places that we haven't been before is even more fun because it's like a new experience. So yeah, as Johnar had many good examples. Also Russia would be fun because I know we got a lot of fans there actually. So yeah, that could be fun.
I heard Russia is always fun.
Yeah.
They are extreme. But Japan. I never heard like death metal in Japan. So what's in for Japan? Do they listen to metal or?
In Japan, yeah, actually, I've been on a Japanese tour with another band. So yeah, they do listen to metal indeed.
Yeah, they do have some weird metal bands.
Yeah, they got a lot of weird stuff there, but they got one really good band called Psy, which is crazy but really cool. So yeah.
So if someone,
I only heard of baby metal, to be honest.
Yeah, that's not my cup of tea, but but you should check out. They're an extreme metal band though, but with a lot of different elements. Sigh, SIGH. Really, really cool. They got a lot of albums, a lot of weird stuff.
So now I'm really intrigued, and I hope that someone can invite someone from Japan, and that someone can post something Japanese on our Galaxy like music. That would be cool to hear something else than baby metal.
Yeah, somebody should post a nice sigh. Everybody should Google that. Yeah.
So it's a
Can you repeat that, because you got
Sunset Song by Sigh, SIGH.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Something
to that.
So when we are talking about gigs now, so can you compare your first and your last gig?
Oh, the first was awful. So the story behind that is, because as we talked about before, the first album we didn't know what we were doing. Johnar had made songs just in MIDI on his computer, and we went and sent it to everyone in the band, and we went straight to the studio to record that album. And prior to that, we had played no live shows. So actually, our first gig ever was the first gig of our first European tour. We had practiced, and we did not know what to expect or how to do it. So I think we sounded like shit. And it was a very good experience, and it was fun, but I think we sucked. So I think if you compare the last gig and the first gig, I think they're two different worlds. Or at least I hope so. I hope we're a lot better than the first gig. If not, I think we just need to quit.
It's funny because sorry, I'm just moving to get my charger. But I remember from the first gig that we had rehearsed, but we didn't know what happened between the songs. And I just remember after we played the first song that was someone was giving an applause, and then it was quiet, and we were all looking at each other. Okay, what happens now? And I had to tell Andreas, well, say something, just say something. And he was mumbling some words about the next song, and it was super awkward, because he was so nervous, and it was just really strange. Bands usually you see a lot of bands, they have a natural flow between the songs. A lot of it is probably rehearsed or routine, but we didn't think about that. I think we rehearsed the songs, but we didn't have any plan about the flow of the set or whatever, and we were super nervous. Let me just plug in my charger for.
Okay. Sindre, care to sing anything?
No, I'm good. I'm just watching my baby monitor that they don't wake up. Yeah, that's why I've been. If I'm running off, it's not to be rude. I just have to get my kids to sleep again. Yeah.
Cool.
Need another beer, by the way.
Oh.
Cheers.
Cheers. So we are stuck at the question about the gig experience. So you talked about the flow and so on. So anything else to add?
The first live show.
Yeah. So the first live shows, but then we did an entire European tour. So we learned a lot from that. And luckily, that European tour, for some reason, was right before the album was released. So there were not many people to see us. So I think we grew on that experience. It might not have been the best shows during that tour, but then you learn, and then I think now I think we're a good live band. I think we enjoy. I at least I can speak for myself. I love playing live. It's my favorite activity in the whole world. So and I think that's part of what you need as well, to be really, really enjoying the moment. If you're really enjoying the moment and you've practiced your stuff, the songs well, and you have good chemistry in the band, then that's what you need. Then you will put on a good performance. And of course, if the crowd is there and the crowd can help you and elevate it to another level as well, if they get if they get into it and they like sing the songs with us, or then it's like even another level, I guess.
Yeah, I'm actually a bit jealous of Ak, as she was at your gig and I wasn't. And we don't know now if any gigs will happen anytime soon in the next few years, I suppose.
No, we'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, just
I want to play
recently
live
I've
again.
been the first gig in UK. They had like a platforms, elevated platforms that I don't know how many platforms they had like on the field, and you had like max to 5 people on one platform.
Yeah. I think I saw a picture of that actually. Yeah.
It looked weird. So what would you think if your gig would happen in this way?
Yeah, that could be fun as well. Different experience. It would be something different. But I think that could be good as well. We've played in a lot of weird like venues and weird settings. So if we can play live and people can hear it, that's the important part, I guess. Yeah.
I suppose, yeah. Actually, Sindre, I was dying to ask you from the beginning, since I saw the behind the ball with the records.
Yeah.
Have you ever counted them? Do you know how many you have?
We've played in a lot of, I have to say, turn up the sound, Johnar, because I can hear myself. No, I haven't counted them, but there are a lot, but quite a few of them, because I got a lot of CDs. I think I got like 2,000 CDs, but I had to choose between my vinyl records and my CDs to put up because of space and because my wife needs to have some space as well. So a lot of those vinyl records are like older music, like 70s prog rock and stuff like that, and a lot of them I've inherited from my father as well. So there's things he's collected. So some parts of it I got a record player up there, and also one in my living room. So I usually go like treasure hunting with and try out different albums that I inherited from my father to listen to. But mostly, like I think 70% I've alphabetized, and is more like things I know what is, and then there's like this shelf of the unknown that I'm listening to, and I like discovering old gems. So that's
very
quite
cool.
fun. Yeah, but I think maybe there's like 2,500 vinyls or something like that.
Yeah.
You can open the record store.
Yeah. I used to work in a record store though for many years, so that's also part of it. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Amazing. And when your kids grow up, you have to, I think, make more space for them or not. Your vinyl collection would like to this.
This is staying. They're not taking that. No, they have to play carefully around that.
Right. So that one.
This is my studio, so this is my space. Yeah.
Cool. So now about hobbies. Johnar, do you have any hobbies apart from making music?
Absolutely. I very much enjoy traveling. Well, maybe you cannot call it a hobby, but yeah, traveling. I like to cook. And I enjoy all kinds of cultural events, art, working out, running. Yeah, that's about it, I think.
We love food. So any particular that you are cooking? Any Norwegian?
Well, I cook all kinds of food, but it's not like I'm specializing in any cuisine. It's more like I go to the market and see what's the best ingredients available that day and make something good with them. I don't have any special,
like create whatever comes to your mind.
Yeah, well, when you have been cooking a lot, you quite quickly get an idea what you can do.
That's cool.
But yeah, I usually in the week I don't eat a lot of meat anymore. Maybe on the weekends I cook a lot of seafood.
Interesting.
And to eat meat on weekends. Why not?
But sometimes I eat meat on weekends if, yeah, good if I a good steak or whatever. But in the week I mostly eat fish or even vegetarian. I think it's a better diet.
Yeah, certainly, like not eating like a little bit meat. Yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
good.
like I'm trying, but it's hard. It's just you used to chicken, and then it's chicken every day, and then you're just trying to substitute with something different. And
I mean, it's easier to have this kind of such a diet if you live in Italy. You can just go and buy tomatoes, and you cannot eat. I'm just an example, but you have great ingredients, and the season is much longer. If you wanna, so in some countries it's definitely more, or it might be more easy to eat healthy,
Yeah, it
especially
depends.
when it comes to access to good fresh vegetables. But I'm not against. Just don't get me wrong. I'm eating meat. I'm not stopping eating meat at all. But for me, I'm just taking my consumption down a little bit. Maybe Sindre is opposite. I would guess he's eating meat every day.
I'm not that. I'm eating a lot of fish, but my diet now is basically things that aren't too unhealthy that my kids will eat. So that's I love like really good food as well. So if I don't have the kids, I like to go like to a good restaurant or something like that. But like the cooking is mainly stuff the kids can eat. So when it comes to hobbies for me, it's like with Johnar, it's culture in all different forms, and also I like football. I like soccer, football, and that's all I got time for really, because family and stuff like that.
your favorite football team?
Yeah, I've been supporting Liverpool since I was a small kid. So yeah,
Wow.
good year for me in that fashion. Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. So that were all our questions. So now we are going to the viewers' questions. So if the viewers have any questions, it's now the moment to ask them. So type them down and we will ask them. So
okay, we have a question from Jonas Sora. He's asking, how close are you with Lepros?
Well, Bård, who plays drums in Lepros, played the drums on Currents, and he's basically been our session drummer when the old drummer, our previous drummer who played up until Enigma, when he had to quit, or before he quit it, actually, he worked on like an oil on a platform in the North Sea. So he was away a lot. So we needed someone. We did done a European tour with him and a lot of other gigs. So yeah, we know him very well. So I guess that's how close we are. I don't know the other guys personally, but I've met them on various occasions. They're really nice guys, and also I listened a lot to especially the earlier Lepros albums. So yeah.
all right. So Jonas had another question. What is the source for your music in general?
Well, that is a wide question. I guess it's Jonar's to answer. Good luck.
Source. The source of our music is our creative abilities. That's a good answer. That's the source. But maybe he mean like inspiration, probably, or first of all, we think that it's one of life's greatest gifts to be able to make music. and it's a lot of fun, even though it can be a big hassle and really, really hard work. It's something really unique. I try to explain this to people, because a lot of people go through life and they never experience this. They might do sports or they do something else, but to be in a band and make music is something really unique. And so we have a passion for it, and also, and that's what one of the sources is our passion and our creativity, which we have kind of molded and shaped for many, many years. You can get better at this the longer you do it, I guess, or not the longer, but you can learn more things and you can evolve as an artist. And of course, we are inspired by other bands and good music. We can be inspired by travels or something we experience, etc. Life in general.
Cool. So another question from Jonna Sora. Was there some folklore behind Enigma song "Hymn till Havet"?
No, I would guess that he means the lyrics, and the lyrics. I wrote those lyrics, and there's no story behind those lyrics. It's just the story behind the lyrics is that I thought, okay, I wanted to write the song in Norwegian, and I thought that the title was cool, and the title is "A Hymn to the Sea." So then, okay, you need to write something relating to that. But I understand his question, but there's no story, there's no folklore or any thing behind it.
But what we could say though is like we're actually, me and Jonah, we live in Oslo, but we're all like, the band started in Kristiansand, which is all the way south in Norway. So we grew up like with the sea right outside our door, basically. So like writing about the sea is not that it's pretty natural, because that's been a big part of our lives.
Interesting. So yeah, the song is like a sea song.
Yeah,
it's Norwegian, but it has such a wave. So Hugo Prudente is asking, what's the most sick gig that you guys ever played that you remember forever?
Oh, that's a hard question. Like did you say like the sickest gig, like the best, or
Sick gig? Yeah, I think in English, in our terms.
Yeah. There are a couple. There are a lot of gigs to choose from, and there's like different gigs that were great for different reasons. So I don't know which one would like. A lot of I think I remember all gigs I played. So yeah. Do you have like a favorite genre or something that sticks out? I'm thinking in Paris, at least in that small venue, Le Petit Bar. No, what was it called? A little. Yeah, Paris. The last tour was really, really good.
Yeah, but Paris on the last tour, it was sold out on a boat in the Seine River, and Brutal Assault was a really, really intense, cool gig.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
I think there are a lot. I think it's hard to actually say one gig, to be honest.
It is.
We usually have good experiences, but
and of course we did 70,000 tons of metal, which was a weird setting as well. So yeah, we'll probably remember that.
When was
remember that sunburn for a long time.
What year was that?
2 years ago, was it? Yeah.
Oh.
Was
or
it
1 year ago? I don't remember.
It was at the start of 2019. It was
Yeah.
2019.
Yes.
That experience. Sorry, Ag.
Yeah, you go first, then I will go.
Yeah, how was that an experience for the 70 tons of metal?
It was some great fun. It was great fun, but that was, Yeah, it's a different setting, but it was, it was playing close to America at least. So like from some American fans, that was fun. And it's a weird setting, So it was fun to play and also a good vacation for us. Yeah.
Yeah, the funny story is, so we had a lot of bands. We started with Iris, then International, and with a lot of bands we spoke, and 7,000 tons is something to put on the bucket list. And then we spoke with Krugen as well about 7,000 metal, and we are like, that's the way to go. So that's the funny thing, that it's again returning.
Yeah.
On the bucket list, 7,000 of metal.
Yeah, that was a good thing to like put a check next to. We've done that. That was fun.
Cool. So another question from Jonas Sora. This may be out of limits, but as a Finnish guy, I have to ask, do you like sauna? And what is your favorite Christmas food?
I went to Finland, to Helsinki last year, and that was really, really good. We went out. We went out the night before, and we were really, really hungover, and we did like this traditional sauna thing, and it was amazing. It was like made the hangover just disappear. So yeah, I love it. I actually got a sauna in there, but it's not working at the moment. So yeah. I love sauna. My favorite Christmas food is we got a lot of like traditional Christmas food in Norway that is really good. But I don't actually know how to say it in Norwegian. Maybe Jona knows. I like pinnekjøtt, which is salted.
Rack of lambs.
Rack of lambs, basically, but it's prepared like in a weird fashion, but really good.
It looks, when you see it at the butcher shop, it looks kind of super strange, and when you see the price and you see how it looks, you kind of, it amazes you, because it looks basically like pieces of bones hanging there, and it's quite expensive. But it's a long process behind it. It's dried and it's smoked and it's been hanging for a long time. And then when you make it, you soak it in water, so you kind of bring the meat back to life again, sort of, from the super dry consistency that it is when you buy it. And then
it's super salted as well, so you cook away some of the salt.
You use a lot of water to get the salt out again. And you serve it with some special vegetable mash and other stuff. It's really good, but our Christmas food comes from our old farmer traditions. So this was kind of a way to handle the meat, to cure it and to store it and to bring a lot of flavor out of the meat, I guess. Very modern way to do it, I guess. But it's a tradition.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the Norwegian Christmas food, the funny thing is that we don't use the best pieces of the meat. It's this rack of lamb dish, and then we have a pork, very, very famous pork dish, which is basically
it's a rib of pork. Yeah,
rib, and the rib of pork is very good, but it's not very expensive. Those two are the dishes that are very common, and we've got a few others, but it's not like
cod. A lot of people eat cod as well.
Cod, and that's also cooked in a very strange way, and but I know that other countries usually, at least what I've heard, for instance, France, they don't have particular Christmas dishes, but they just buy the best food, the best ingredients, the most fancy stuff. That's not how we do it here for Christmas. It's not the traditions.
What about the dish? Oh, Jesus, I can't remember the name now. It's the conserve of a fish, and which one, when you open it, has very, very strong smell.
Lakfisk, probably thinking of, yeah.
It is kind of almost supposed to be not rotten, but kind of on its way to getting rotten or something. I think it's but
Yeah.
still okay to eat. But maybe I'm wrong, but it smells terrible. But it's actually quite tasty. But it's intense. It's something you can only eat one time per year, and then
Oh,
it's super intense. And I think a lot of people cannot handle it.
It basically is rotten fish, and it tastes like shit.
that's interesting. Ag, you sleeping there?
Yeah, I'm sitting there. I'm just thinking about all the foods that I'm going to eat, and I'm like,
Yeah, I'm getting hungry now.
yeah, exactly. So let's go with another question before we are very hungry. So there's a question: any covers of non-metal songs?
Nothing planned. We did like on Mantra. We had a bonus track that was this song called "Wayfaring Stranger." So I think that's the only like don't know if you can call it a cover, but like a traditional song that we've done. I don't remember us doing any other covers. Are we, Johnar? There's nothing planned, so maybe in the future we'll see. I don't know.
No, I have no ideas now about cover songs. We have discussed actually to record some of our songs in acoustic version.
Yeah.
But maybe first we will finish the new album, and then maybe we could do that, make a short EP with some acoustic songs. When we did the only cover song we ever done, I remember I really wanted to do a cover of that song, but I don't really have any urge. I think you need a really strong urge to cover a song if you're going to do it, and some kind of special idea or vision behind it, not just to make it your own in a way, even though it's a cover song.
Yeah, it sounds also complex, like because of the band you are, like heavy metal or that, you just put a pop song and you just scream and beat on. And with this, it's, I think, much more complex to fit it into Vine itself.
I mean, if you're gonna do a cover, you have to make a new version at least. If not, you might as well just listen to the original.
For sure. So Nick is asking, have you ever played in a church?
Not with In Vain. I did actually play in the church with I got a doom metal band called Funeral, and we played in an old church in Belgium, which was a really cool experience. But no, I don't think we ever played in a church with In Vain.
No, I don't think so. I would never remember that.
I can't imagine a happy church who would say, "Come, let's play death metal in the church." I think
the one I played in though it was not a functional church anymore. It was an old church building, but now it was turned into a venue. We actually got a church like that in Oslo as well, so maybe we'll play there sometime in the future. There's a church in the like city center basically of Oslo that's turned into music, like a concert scene, and
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I'm very interested in how that metal should be sounding in a church. Something like I never seen I was planning to see a metal concert like opera in a church, but I don't know if it's going to happen very in December. So, but like churches are a new thing, at least in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, we have now the culture theaters, and a new thing just popped up. Let's go play songs in a church, like metal bands into church, but it comes with some restrictions, as a lot of churches are saying how you should be clothed and so on, but it's a new trend coming up, at least in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So now I'm a bit, I'm now. So Nick is also asking, Sindre, is your wife listening to metal, or you're the only person who listens metal in the house?
No, she listens to metal as well, but she used to listen more to metal before. But she still listens to metal, and also so I can play new stuff I discover for her, or when I do the pre-production and I got some ideas, I can ask her if I'd like to take a listen and if she thinks it works and stuff like that. So yeah, she's really into music like me. Like she likes a lot of different genres, but yeah,
cool.
she definitely is into metal as well. Maybe not the more extreme stuff. It's more into the more melodic parts. So like the most extreme stuff I usually listen to on my headphones. But yeah.
Cool. And Johnar, you're in your household, are you the only person listening to metal, or anyone else in your family listening to it as well?
Well, my girlfriend she tolerates it. Actually, she says she likes it, but I don't think she listens to metal. But I've been surprised of how easy she has taken this extreme music. She's not shocked at all when she listens to it, and because I'm aware that this is an extreme music. It's basically noise for most people. So, yeah, it's only me. But I have a younger brother who's really into metal as well. But he's a musician, and as with me and Sindre, he listens to everything. I think that's the best. Why would you want to limit yourself to one musical style?
Yeah, that's exactly the thing. When if you're open for everything, then you got so much great music to discover. So different genres have different qualities, and of course you got to find the stuff that you think sounds good. But you can, at least for me, I think I can find, like, in almost all the genres, you can find something that really hits the spot and is good. And then if you're not like locked to one genre, then you got so much more joy from music because you can find so much more and so much more different stuff. So yeah,
and that's the beautiful thing. At least in the Netherlands, we have a metal scene in the Netherlands, but the metal scene is very tightly mixed together with pop DJs and so on. And like, for example, Within Temptation invited DJs and so on. So it's like a collaboration because they use resources. I think it's indeed what you say, it's fresh and so on, just to draw inspirations and so on. So yeah, that was everything from from the viewers. So for now, first of all, to viewers, thank you all who joined tonight, and for those who are going to watch it later on. And thank you also for the engagement, the participation, and the questions. And and if you fell asleep or you want to rewatch it, please subscribe on our YouTube channel and join the group as well, because we'll post in 2 weeks' time an edited version with the full interview. And we will also share all links of In Vain, so you can support them and thank in person the band. And we want to thank also In Vain for joining us, showing interest in the group and sharing the news with their followers. And we look forward to see new music and the live gigs.
Appreciate that. It was our pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
No worries.
Thanks for joining. I hope you had a good time.
We did indeed.
Right.
Absolutely.
See you.
All right.